Frankie by saying fish. Frankie always, I don't even know what it stands for, but Frankie, just like Trump, not fazed in the slightest. Frankie, how you doing?
You know, the fact that you didn't finish that means that there was an insult coming, and I'm just thank you for holding back on that one.
No, not gonna add on to the leftist propaganda. But guys, take a look at this. I mean, it is amazing. We have simultaneously 3 world wars about to break out. We have immigrants that are illegal, very much so, coming into the country, putting Molotov cocktails into crowds of peaceful demonstrators. We have Chinese nationals loyal to the CCP attempting to start another COVID scamdemic. More on that in a little bit. And what are the Democrats doing in the minority right now? Well, they're not trying to capture the hearts and minds of voters. They're not trying to present ideas that run counter economically or on foreign policy to President Trump. No, they are asking ChatGPT, operated by their interns, to come up with the most creative and I guess something that they would think would be viral moment to personally insult Trump. You guys might have heard last week this term taco. Trump always chickens out, which is, again, not very smart, probably created by a geeky intern of, Nancy Pelosi's office or something. But listen to the way and look at the way they attempt to make it be edgy and go viral. They are cringe and pathetic. Roll it.
Hey, Congressman.
Trying to help you?
What the f*** is up with Trump always chickening out on tariffs?
The way that guy eats. Look at that. It's absolutely disgusting.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Anything else? That's it. There you go. He's diving into that taco like a Friday night with a Chinese spy, okay? That's what he's doing. And I tell you, something else that's kind of ridiculous is look at the way that guy eats. I mean, anybody who eats, just so you know, little like life lesson from Mike Crispi. If you're sitting at a table with somebody and they eat like this, and like a snapping turtle, like if they don't just bring the food to their face, like if they're doing it like they're, in a jail cell and they have to make sure nobody steals their food, something's up with that person mentally. So that's their attempt. That's their attempt to win back the hearts and minds of independent voters. Don't talk about economic things or foreign policy or make criticisms of Trump or talk where he hasn't kept his promises if they want to spin it like that. No. Just eat tacos and act like tough guy, okay? There you go, Eric Swalwell. But speaking of tough guy, how about the guy who read the Democrat pollsters' polls that said, moderate and independent voters see President Trump as tough. Yeah, he is. He's authentically tough. I mean, the guy literally got shot on a stage of 50,000 people, got up, raised his fist, okay, while bullets were flying and said, fight, fight, fight. One of the most badass moments in the history of the world. So the pollsters on the Democrat side say, hey, we need to have a little toughness. Trump is seen as really tough, and people respect that. They want a tough leader. Tim Walz, again, with zero self-awareness whatsoever, stolen head coach valor, wasn't a head coach, stolen military valor, okay, and a lot of other bizarre things. Tampon Timmy, head of the LGBTQ club when he was a teacher, allegedly. He got the memo, and he said, I'm going to be the tough guy. Listen to this guy at the South Carolina Democrat Party. It's usually like an auditioning ground for presidential Democrat candidates. So you could tell he's auditioning to be the presidential nominee for 2028. Listen to this false, tough talk guy bravado. It's very cringy. Roll it.
Called out on this because I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he is.
Oh, you got him.
The governor's being mean, and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. And again, I'll speak to my teacher colleagues in here. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the shit out of him back. You push back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, tough guy. How about this? Let's make a deal right now on the show. If you can get through Frankie, then you can get to Donald Trump. I don't think Tim Walz, Frankie would annihilate him. Frankie would put Tim Walz and his stupid son Gus, who, by the way, is going to come to MAGA soon enough, he would put him in the dirt, blow him over, and they'd be done. Oh, you need to bully Trump. You know what? I would love Tim Walz and Trump. Just put him in a bar, roll the cameras, and let him go toe-to-toe. Come on. Tim Walz is this freakish, like, Chinese asset. Like, total weirdo, president of the LGBTQ club, okay, fakes his whole resume, and Trump is like the man. He goes, I'm gonna bully Trump. Okay, pal. Yeah, it's like the 130-pound guy saying, I'm going to go be the left tackle, okay, on the Alabama Crimson Tide football team. Yes, Frankie.
I was just going to say, there's just something about the way he throws those arms, That way.
We're going to bully. Oh, yeah. We're gonna bully him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good luck. Yeah. This is what, let me tell you something. If Kamala Harris and Tim Walz would have won, we wouldn't be stopping illegal immigration. We wouldn't be stopping the threat of China or Iran or radical Islamic terrorism. No. This is what we would be doing on every airline around the world on this fictitious, again, I'm so glad that Pride Month is totally canceled and abolished. I'm so glad that in America we don't see, the flying, like they mix the LGBT tranny flag with the black flag. I don't know why black people would want to be on the same flag as that, but that's a whole other story. This is what we would see in the American airline industry under Tim Walz. This would be the number one topic right now. Not stopping illegals and, trade imbalances in the economy. This is what would be happening. Thank God Tim Walz is nowhere near the White House. Otherwise, we'd have Canada in America. Roll it, Frank.
It was a bit of a range of emotions this morning coming here and getting dressed for this flight.
C'est un moment historique qu'on vit aujourd'hui. J'ai trouvé ça une bonne initiative pour la communauté entière. Je suis comme un petit thrill de faire le vol aujourd'hui.
J'ai là supporté ma fille, une de mes 4 enfants et dans la communauté. Quand j'ai vu qu'il y avait une occasion de supporter encore plus, là, j'ai mis mon nom tout de suite.
We are doing the first ever, now let me get that one straight because a few letters have been added to this one, 2S LGBTQIA+ flight ever in Canada. I do identify with the progress flag. There's something in there that represents me as well. So it was a bit of joy having the opportunity to do this flight today.
That's what we call a flight you would not get on if you had to go back and forth from Canada. There is a higher disproportionate rate of that flight not ending well, going upside down than any other flight. There you go. And then the best thing is he goes, so we got to get this right. It's almost like he's mocking himself. How it wasn't LGBTQ. It was like 2LQPZ, like sometimes the pi symbol, LGBT. It's like, just, you freaks. How about you have the most competent pilot flying a plane? That's what they would be doing in America right now if Trump didn't win and save the country. They'd be pushing that while the threats mount, while America gets systematically taken apart at the joints. That's what was happening under this country before Trump came in and saved it. This is a crazy story, okay? This goes to show you, not only is Trump obviously deporting illegals, and you see that guy who was let into the country illegally who threw the Molotov cocktails in Boulder, Colorado. And by the way, if that guy didn't light himself on fire throwing one of the Molotov cocktails, there was 15 other Molotov cocktails, okay? So it would have been 10 times as worse. But it's not only him stopping that. What about China? Again, Tim Walz, totally bought and paid for by China. Many leftist politicians are, including Biden. Take a look at what you're seeing on the screen. You're probably saying, what is this, Mike? Is this a throwback from the COVID days? No, this is the federal government's evidence report. That is fungus, which you're seeing on the screen. That is a pathogen fungus, which was caught by from 2 Chinese nationals who were trying to smuggle it into the country. They were CCP aligned, CCP assets, totally proven, coming to the country studying at the University of Michigan. And they found, when they stopped this kid for screening, okay, at the border, they found that he had 4 different baggies of these pathogens, okay, which could be used to harm humans, animals, and crops. A bioweapon found because we have tightened up our border and immigration enforcement. What would have happened under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? You think President Kamala Harris, oh, no. Remember the whole time when Trump would say it came in from China, it's the China virus? That's racist. So would we say that's racist and not stop the CCP assets that are starting to come into the country? Again, they've paid off the American politicians, and they want to lower America to a weak point where we just funnel in third world, blanks from all around the world that belittle and destroy the greatness of America, get everybody sick, have our food supply be robbed, totally rip it apart at the seams, while China and our adversaries grow, and the politicians who took money from China, little spoiler alert, Tim Walz at the top of that list. You don't visit China 30 times for the weather and the beaches. You don't. So it's like they caught these two kids who, when they did the research, are totally CCP aligned, and they want to let more of these people into the country. The Democrats right now are like, well, who's going to do the work? Who's going to code the computers? Who's going to pick the crops? One of the Democrat members of Congress, she said this, and it's a direct quote, so I can say it. We're going to be wiping our own asses. That's what she said, if we don't allow the illegals in. That was her tough talk rhetoric. A Democrat member of Congress said that. I don't remember the name. Vermont, I believe. This is the reality of what's going on with China. Florida Senator Ashley Moody, Frankie Roll.
Filed a bill yesterday to deny now student visas to Chinese students because China has just passed a law that now requires every national to gather intelligence, including Chinese students here studying, gather intelligence and report back. How do we not pass a law that prevents student visas in that respect? I mean, in the past few years, we've had an explosion of Chinese students that were caught gathering evidence or gathering information on military bases, on college campuses. How do we as lawmakers, policymakers, not do that?
Oh, because if you don't do that, according to the leftist whack jobs, well, if you do that, then you are racist. And we need to be inclusive of all the people being sent into this country to destroy the country. It's kind of wild how, like, if you put America right now in a time capsule, okay, and if you showed it to somebody from 30 years ago, and he said, all right, we're going to import all these people, and they're going to be caught smuggling pathogens and funguses, and they're going to throw Molotov cocktails at crowds, and they're going to commit terror acts. Like, you would think that the country, like, there wouldn't be Democrat, Republican Party anymore. You would think that, like, some hostile Middle Eastern power overtook America, implemented Sharia law, and said, we're going to just destroy the country. Like, on behalf of, jihad or whatever. Like, you would think that, like, that's what would happen. Like, if the Democrat Party was operating exactly how they're operating, you would think that a foreign hostile power, like, took it over. White House was totally bombed out of existence. They built a new palace, and we had, like, a new foreign leader, and America was conquered. You would think that would be the country right now. No, it's just Democrat policies. How about this? Gets even worse. Again, we talk about, what is it called? Birthright citizenship. And people like me and the great legal scholars out there say birthright citizenship is not a constitutional right. The way it is interpreted in the Constitution by the left is totally fabricated. It was not meant to make America the dumping ground of every country in the world. Our founding fathers couldn't even fathom that. But it's happening. Listen to this. Roll for it.
Guess knows what a Chinese maternity house is. There are houses where the Chinese government takes citizens that when they're in their 7th or 8th month, they ship them here for a month. They let them have their children. And then once they have their children, they take them back to China, where now they're U.S. citizens, but they're raised in China. They're loyal to China. We know they're doing it, but they're still getting away with it. And on the other one, with that 2-year-old kid, I noticed how when you read the thing that the daughter was from the 2-year-old, where the baby was here. We kept her here because the mother was from Tren de Agua. And why would we send a baby back with a mother like that? Thank you.
Well,
all right. So it's unbelievable how it's outward, how they're exploiting our system and destroying our system and ripping the country apart at the seams. And you can't be like, oh, they're coming here. You know what I hate the most? When they're like, well, Mike, your great-great-grandparents came here from Italy. How would you feel if they were turned away? No, they came here to learn the language, assimilate, build a better life. Again, that's why a lot of, third-generation Italians don't speak the language, because when they came in, they were so prideful. They said, we're going to speak English and we're going to work. This is not that. And it is a disgusting lie to conflate it anything remotely close to it. Thank God we dodged a bullet. And tampon Timmy, China boy Timmy, is nowhere near the White House. Good luck with the tough talk. You're not winning for 50 years. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break right now and give you a word from our first sponsor of the show. And it is a pretty important one now that we're talking about the way the left is literally trying to usher in a new scamdemic. As you could see, if they had their way, you'd have it. But get protected, stay protected, because you know those doctors are not going to give you what you need in the time of need. Okay, so guys, get in touch with my friends over at Old Family Pharmacy. This is what you need to know. What the big pharma folks don't want you to know is that you don't need to go to the big pharma, the insurance cartel, and these major doctors to get the medications your family needs, okay? You can get it from Old Family Pharmacy. President Trump took a big step to lower drug prices with the powerful executive order. But let's face it, D.C. moves slow. The system is still rigged against the average American. That's why I support Old Family Pharmacy. They are a family-owned company that takes action. And if you want all the things, again, that everyone was denied from getting during the COVID times, or even methylene blue, which RFK Jr. takes to maintain his optimal health, guys, you gotta go to oldfamilypharmacy.com/Crispi right now and use promo code Crispi20 for 20% off your order on all these things. They're running the America First Summer Sale, so use that promo code Crispi20 for 20% off your order and stock up on the things that the globalists and the deep staters and the leftists do not want you to have, because it'll make you healthy, quick, and cheap and easy. Let's go. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with so much more. The show rolls on. Don't go anywhere. To the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here. Thanks for sticking with us on this Saturday night. Real America's Voice. You know, in the last segment, we were talking about the fact that it's not only the illegals coming in from the southern border, you also have the threat of Chinese nationals. You have them coming in from the African countries. They're literally coming in from everywhere, and they've been coming in over the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 years. I mean, Trump stopped it for a couple of years, but they were coming in before that. Biden let them in unchecked, and now it's a big process of getting everybody out as quick as possible before we have more instances of what happened in Boulder, before we have more instances of Chinese nationals trying to bring in pathogenic fungi. I think I got that right, Frankie. You're the resident scientist. Into the country. And Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff for policy, is not happy right now. You can put this on screen, Frankie. Trump attack dog Stephen Miller demands that ICE launches raids at popular shopping destinations, Home Depot, 7-Eleven. I saw some footage of them hauling off people on airline flights. By the way, if you are a seeking asylum and oppression fleer, how are you buying tickets for family vacations on airline flights? Doesn't make any sense. But the question is, will the Trump admin pick up the pace and get these people on delay out of the country? Here to talk about that and so much more is my panel tonight. We have our friends of the program, Sal Greco, former New York City cop and host of the Sal Greco Show, and my friend, political commentator and CEO of Patriot Cigar Company, Alan Jacoby. Sal, I'll start with you, sir, because, you're both very well dressed, but Sal, a little bit better, Alan. We got to give him a little bit. Sal, we'll start with you. You've walked the beat in New York. You've dealt with illegals. You've seen what it's like, to apprehend these criminals and these gangbangers. Do you think it's feasible to get almost everybody out in this 3.5-year window we have left? Is it doable? Is it possible? What are cops going through in major cities who are tasked with doing this? What are they going through? And do you think it's possible for them to pick up the pace, or are they doing all they can? Sal, what do you think?
In all honesty, I don't think we'll ever get to the final number of how many illegals really are in this country. How many are gangbangers? I don't think we have the resources. First, in police departments, which may or may not be allowed to cooperate with ICE. Then we have the immigration judges themselves, and then the ICE agents. It's a monumental, very expensive task. What I do think I'm seeing is they're learning how to self-deport. There's a lot of these gangbangers that are on the run. What we're seeing is people that overstay their visas, and although maybe some of the tactics that are being used might be frowned upon, but at the same time, these people are in violation of overstaying their visas, or they lied to the court. So what you're seeing is what ICE could be doing all the time. The problem, though, again, would be we need immigration judges. We don't have enough of those. So that's going to be one problem. And the fact that we will need more resources for ICE agents. And in these sanctuary city jurisdictions, the police departments are not allowed to cooperate with ICE, such as New York City.
Yeah. Alan, what do you make of it? You're in New York. You see it. Just these instances you see of these thugs, sometimes young, and they're like hitting cops and they're attacking cops, and it's just disgusting behavior. What do you make of it? You probably going to New York City time to time, but what are you seeing in the city, and what do you think is the end result of this? Are cops just going to say, hey, I'm not doing this anymore? Because as Sal says, they're not even allowed to do their jobs in many respects. What do you say, Alan?
Well, a lot of police officers that I know are worried about doing their job because of the repercussions of doing their job from their own city and their own department, of getting fired. They're not allowed to cooperate with ICE. These criminals that came here illegally, they all have to go. Listen, I'm in full agreement with Stephen Miller. I think they should be hitting the Home Depots. They should be hitting 7-Elevens, convenience stores, pulling flights anywhere they possibly can. I am 100% in favor of aggressive workplace raids. And I know Tom Homan stressed he's going to come and they're going to target criminals, and that is great. And we're way into this administration where now it's, I think, past time where we amp it up. And we are seeing it here and there, but we need 5,000 or more a day. And like Sal said, we need the judges. We need more judge appointments by the Trump administration. We need more funding for the federal agencies so that they have the resources to go and hunt these criminals down, to deport them. And that's going to come. Listen, we have a big, beautiful reconciliation bill that has to be worked on, and all of that funding is in there. I'm an American voter. I'm an American business owner, and I want these people out of my country who came illegally. Come here legally. That's it.
Yeah. And it is quite fascinating how, the Democrats would say, well, over the years, we've supported funding for the border. No, they supported funding so they can make beautiful encampments for them on the border where they get culturally appropriate meals, PlayStations, and, better showers and living conditions. It's unbelievable. I do want to touch on this now and show this clip. This is Jerry Nadler. So we're talking about the way that Democrats and Republicans are looking at this issue completely differently. This is a situation that happened where a member of Jerry Nadler, he's the little roly-poly member of Congress, right? The guy who, you guys know who he is. A member of his staff was arrested. And this was in relation to, I believe, illegal aliens who were being hidden in his congressional office. The staffers hid him there. And we're going to roll this clip here. And this is how these tough liberals react. They're doing God's work, they say, rescuing these poor little illegals. But then when they face the consequences, listen to how they sound. Roll it, Frankie.
No, she did not. That is not what happened.
Listen back. That is not what happened. Okay, hold on a second.
Give me your contact information right
now.
No,
I'm going to give you time to speak to you.
Hey, I'll speak to you after. I got you.
No.
I got you. You're okay.
I don't have to.
You're okay. You're okay. You're going to be okay.
I'm a federal officer. We're here checking on something. We have the right to check. I'm giving you a warrant. I'm not resisting. Stop resisting. You harboring rioters in the office.
Oh, man, the consequence of their action. Nadler's staff, what a shock. You're paying the consequence for your actions that are illegal. Nadler's staff said that after the ICE hearings, again, Nadler's office is, I guess, in the same building, in the same compound of where ICE court was. And, what they were doing is they were taking the illegals, they were putting them into the office to hide them when the ICE agents got there. They said, oh, no, we were giving them guidance after their court appearances. Unbelievable. Sal, New York City, again, ground zero for all this stuff. You said earlier that you don't think that Eric Adams, again, they act like he's, on board with Trump with this illegal immigration stuff. Do you say Eric Adams is actually about that? Or is he full of it? And what's going on in the city with stuff like this happening in government buildings? What's going on, Sal?
Yeah, well, Eric Adams, like we all know, has talked out of both sides of his mouth. So when it came to the migrant shelter crisis that actually he helped foment, he spent over $7 billion and went to Congress and actually went on air saying, I actually need more. So he's always got his hand out. He's misused his funds. He's involved in so much mishigas that we could go on for hours with it. But as far as what they're doing with illegal immigration in New York City, ICE cannot, New York City, the NYPD, Corrections Department, they're not allowed to cooperate with ICE. Therefore, ICE has to kind of take their own initiative. With this situation that you actually saw on the screen, there's nothing wrong with what ICE did. If you're harboring people that are supposed to be in court, you're actually aiding and abetting criminality. I know Jerry Nadler's been there for a long time. I personally think that he's had his health episodes on camera, and maybe it's time to retire and enjoy the sun somewhere in Florida for Jerry Nadler. But you can't. What happened there is just a microcosm of New York City. In fact, Eric Adams recently just put another migrant shelter up in the Bronx. People don't talk about it because now we're supposed to forget that he had a criminal trial and he was let off the hook by Trump because he's supposed to cooperate. It's all pomp and circumstance. It's not true. He's not helping anyone. It's all about him.
Sal, yes. So you say that he's putting up, this is pretty wild, he's putting up new facilities when he's for the illegals to go into, again, which is better than the third world squalor they come from. Again, I don't care where they come from. Send them back, not our problem. But he's putting up new facilities, and obviously that gets them to want to stay, okay? So we're talking about these politicians. I do want to shift gears here. And talk about this. New Jersey has a gubernatorial primary coming up. We've talked about this, not on the air, but it is coming up on Tuesday. President Trump stumping for Jack Ciattarelli, running in a competitive primary. And Alan, there's this thing that goes on during primary season where supporters of a candidate who don't get Trump support, they say, no, we're more Trumpy. And there's this candidate in the race, Bill Spady, who's running, and he says Trump was paid off for the endorsement. And they just start, they're these MAGA candidates, and they launch into these attacks against Trump when they don't get Trump's support. Alan, you've seen these races. You've donated to candidates, and you've seen these races break out all over the country. New Jersey's yet another example. What do you make of the rhetoric right now around this time where people from dueling camps try to explain away why they didn't get a Trump endorsement or whatever? Obviously, New Jersey almost went for Trump, so a very big primary. What do you say, Alan?
We see it time and time again all over the country where if a certain endorsement goes if Trump's endorsement goes to a certain candidate and you have a camp that's unhappy about it, they're going to, rise up. They're going to act out. They're going to tell you all the reasons why they think the other candidate got the endorsement, like big payoffs and favors and things like that. The fact of the matter is, who is going to win? Who is going to be able to push the America First agenda or the Trump agenda forward on a state level? And where is the polling? President Trump does not endorse losers. Let's face reality here, okay? Mike Crispi, you ran for Congress. You have seen internal polling firsthand. You ran for Congress in New Jersey. And Donald Trump is sometimes shown real polling. He's sometimes shown not so real polling. And you have to wade through all of the crap. I don't really know much about the candidates in New Jersey other than from what I see on social media and other platforms. But it seems to me that Bill Spadea has some support, but not enough. He can't fundraise. He doesn't have the grassroots support to win. And a lot of it seems to be a facade. And Donald Trump is not stupid, and he knows at this point how the game of politics is played and who he can influence and get to be on his team.
Yeah. And I think it is about, again, like it's the pragmatism of what will happen. You want to be the guy, run a better campaign, raise more money. Sal, what do you think? I mean, you've been, you got some New York ties, you got friends in Jersey, Spadea, Chittarelli. Just take a minute here and just give us your breakdown of what you think is going to happen. Again, election on Tuesday. Trump went from losing the state by 16 to 5. So New Jersey is swinging towards the right direction, and Trump's approval keeps going up in the state. So it's a big state. People are watching. Sal, what's your take on the race?
Well, I do respect Trump's endorsement in this race. Jack Ciattarella, who's a fellow Paisan, that's who he endorsed. Therefore, that's who I'm going to get behind. And it's crazy what happened here, Mike, because behind the scenes, I was actually unfollowed by someone who I thought was in our camp and was our friend, and then went completely rogue with Bill Spadea. And these people have also tried to attack you personally, Mike. And I follow New Jersey politics through you. I think you're the, head honcho when it comes to that. And I respect what you say and what you know. And I agree with whatever you were on when you were mentioning Bill Spadea. You exposed this guy for what he really is. Even Sid Rosenberg recently had Jack Ciattarelli on. So I'm for Jack. A lot of my friends are for Jack, and I expect Jack to win the primary and become the next governor in New Jersey. I fully expect that this time around. I'm just a little disappointed in some of the MAGA camp that was backing Bill Spadea and just acting rogue. Mike.
Well, they bought the Kool-Aid. They attacked me, and Sal. Sal stood by me. Alan stood by me. They attacked me because the guy, again, everyone knows New Jersey, Chris Christie, rears his ugly head in there, gets behind Spadea's campaign. Ron DeSantis' super PAC people, again, who ran the failed bid for DeSantis for president, came in, swooped in, started running Spadea's campaign. I said, Trump's never going to endorse that, obviously. And that leads me to my next point, is that what's going on economically for the country, obviously something needed to change as we get out from the problems that we've had over the last 20, 30 years since NAFTA was put in. If you ask Democrats, they say that Trump making the necessary realignment economically is going to plunge the economy. What was it doing before exactly? Take a look at the false hysteria on CNN, guys, then I'll get your reaction.
Magnitudes. It turns out there's only about 5,000 people who work in steel in Pittsburgh. Depending how you count it, you could say there's several 100,000 who work in Detroit, in the sort of manufacturing industries that use metals. And so immediately now you see the problem, which is this helps a small sliver of the economy, the folks in hard hats in Pittsburgh. But all of a sudden, when Ford goes to buy more steel, even if it's buying American steel, its steel manufacturer will say, well, guess what? If you don't buy from us, you have to buy elsewhere. It's 50% more expensive elsewhere. So we're going to jack up our prices by 50%. And so all of the manufacturing firms in Detroit are going to face these much higher costs.
Okay, so the guy is claiming that everyone's going to just jack up the prices like crazy, even in America, as Trump is meeting with American business leaders, bringing them into the Oval Office, saying, guys, let's get this thing under control. Let's buy American. It's going to be cheaper. You're going to get it in America, and it's going to incentivize more businesses to come to America. But Alan Jacoby, you're a business owner. You see the hysteria that they push, because I guess they just want globalization, but you own a business, Patriot Cigar Company. Talk about 30 seconds here. Talk about what you've experienced with the tariffs and your business.
Really quick, the tariffs are going to benefit the country. They're going to expand industry. As a business owner who even deals with a product that comes from another country, I'm subject to now some tariffs. I will not be raising my prices because I know that's not going to, it's not going to do well for anybody. The tariffs are going to expand industry. They're going to bring jobs. The investments that President Trump is bringing into the country are second to none. It's going to benefit a lot more than a few thousand people in hard hats in Pittsburgh. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's unbelievable.
The tariffs are our way to prosperity.
It is the way to prosper, and that's why you guys should go support Patriot Cigar Company, who proudly sponsors this segment. Guys, if you're looking for a premium handmade cigar made from the best aged tobacco in the world, well, then get yourself some Patriot cigars for your father for Father's Day. He'll love it, unless, of course, he is a liberal, but nobody who has a liberal father is watching this show. Guys, these are not your grandfather's cigars. These cigars are made with premium aged Nicaraguan tobacco, bringing you the best flavor profiles in the business. Guys, it is the best. Frankie there, lighting it up. It's Saturday night. He's smoking it after the show. And you guys, it makes a great gift for your father on Father's Day. So, guys, go to mypatriotcigars.com right now. Use promo code Crispi for 25% off your order. Get it for Father's Day, guaranteed to make them happy. And you see the other accessories, carrying case, clippers on the screen, the new releases. Go get it today. Official cigar of the Italian-American Civil Rights League, Sal Greco, Al Jacoby, and Frankie. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thank you to my panel. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here. Thanks for sticking with us on this Saturday night on Real America's Voice. You know, we mentioned at the very beginning the craziest story I thought of the week was President Trump holding a conversation with Vladimir Putin about the status of really the deterioration of the Ukrainian and Russian relationship. There's been a lot going on lately, but isn't it a nice thing that the President of the United States can talk to the President of a nuclear power, Russia, and have a conversation about it? Not say, oh, we're at Putin's price hike and we're going to bomb him off the map. He's a gas station with nukes. How about having a conversation saying, hey, let's work together? And isn't it interesting how Putin said to Trump, hey, maybe we can help you with Iran. Iran relies on us for a lot. So maybe we can help you stop what Iran is doing, okay, in the Middle East, as you might have a war with them. Maybe we can help you with that and have them sign a deal with no enrichment of uranium. Maybe we could do our part there because they rely on us for a lot. What a concept. It's amazing how all of the Biden diplomats who claim they were so smart, it's amazing how that never got brought up. And it's also amazing how in the face of this, again, they said Putin was a crazy dictator, how in the face of this story of his helicopter allegedly being shot at and almost being shot down, how he can then have a conversation and say, hey, we're going to have to retaliate for some of the things that have gone on, that including this footage you're about to see of their bombers and their bridge getting blown up. But isn't it amazing, Frankie, how there can be a conversation despite that, despite the fact that Ukraine is doing exactly what they said they wouldn't do, and exactly what all the Republican and Democrat backers of Ukraine aid said wouldn't happen. We're not going to use it for offensive purposes. It is for defensive purposes because Putin is a crazy maniacal whack job and therefore needs to be for defensive purposes. What that means is that if they are attacking in Ukraine, well, then they could use it for defense, not launching strikes deep into Russian territory. That would be called, by definition, on paper, throughout the history of time, a world war. Right, Frankie? So here you see here is Ukraine, again, not some little thing, but bombing Russian bombers on the airfield en masse. What do you make of what's going on, Frankie?
Yeah, well, I will just say when that footage came out of, I believe it somewhere in the number of 40 bombers, Russian bombers getting destroyed, and then I believe the Russian response was, this has kind of given us no choice. You've taken out our air mobility. Next stop is nukes. And I genuinely, I looked at this news. I'm like, wow, like things are slipping quickly. And I was nervous. A few days I was nervous. Now here we are. And then there goes the talks. Trump's talking to Putin. And here we go. It's like, for me, it's genuinely like, oh, you start sweating a little bit. It's like, whoa, things are moving quick. As soon as he's, Russia, we all know Russia has the nukes. They rarely mention them. And then, it seemed like things are really ramping up, and here we go. We might get two birds with one stone.
But isn't it interesting how whenever there's a conversation, Zelensky and Trump, like Zelensky tries to be like, macho man with literally nothing. You don't have the cards. You know what? Putin has a card. It's called a nuke. Okay, so Putin has infinitely more cards than Zelensky does, but he speaks with the United States government and deals with them in a position of way more respect. That proves what we have always said on this show, is that Zelensky is not a representation of Ukraine. Zelensky is a puppet of a higher globalist force that is tasked with one purpose: initiate, perpetuate global warfare, dragging the USA into a nuclear conflict with Russia. They want that war. And whenever somebody wants a war, you always see the same faces. The bipartisanship, they call it, the bipartisanship. No, it's called the uniparty neocon complex of sick people. Dick Blumenthal, who lied about his military service, and Lindsey Graham, who lies about his sexual identity and many other things. This is them not long ago talking to, who do they think they are? Talking about tariffs being levied on Russia in response to offensives against Ukraine. Hold on a minute. Dick Blumenthal's just nodding his head. I thought people can't unilaterally threaten tariffs. Oh, unless you're doing it for Volodymyr, globalist puppet Zelensky. Roll this clip.
The game that Putin's been playing is about to change. He's going to be hit and hit hard by the United States when it comes to sanctions. China, the game you're playing with Russia is about to change. If you keep buying cheap Russian oil to fuel Putin's war machine, there'll be a 500% tariff on all of your products coming into the United States.
Okay, pal. And it's just mindless talk because, Frankie, as you know, as I know, we don't really do much trade at all with Russia. That's why they weren't included on the Liberation Day tariff sheet, because we don't have economic ties. That'd be very beneficial if we did, but we don't. It's just a fact. It's not me being a propagandist. They have the biggest landmass out of any country on the planet. So just by default, there would be some type of natural rare earth benefit. Frankie, what do you think of this Lindsey Graham stuff?
Yeah, I mean, who could be surprised? The person who went, on the ground in Ukraine when the Donbass, he was the one that was rallying the troops saying, you are going to take Russia on.
Your fight is our fight.
Yes.
No, it's not.
And just look at the repercussion. Okay. Look what's happened since. Look what's happened. We have the possibility of Ukraine falling off the map, legitimately being erased. That's a genuine possibility right now, and no one seems to care because they're our money puppet. It's just like, at some point, you have to look. Dick Blumenthal, you see Lindsey Graham next to him, like, it's never good. And it's just crazy that these neocons now say, like, oh, they use this term neocon. No, neocon, you created the term. Or just, like, that was the term that they created. And now we just use it to point out the exact thing that they're doing. And they say, oh, that's conspiracy. Oh, neocons.
It's like if a term you created we're now using as an insult because it defines you, then it's not an insult or a conspiracy theory. You literally made it. How about this, Lindsey Graham, Warhawk? Again, no ideological consistency whatsoever because he wants to save the Ukrainian lives, but when it comes to other conflicts, he says, well, they got to kill them all. There's nothing we can do. So it's like, Lindsey Graham, which is it? Pal, roll this here. This is what Lindsey Graham thinks about human life. No regard for it whatsoever. All that he cares about is what lines his pockets. Roll it, Frank.
Many Palestinian civilians have been killed. Do you agree with that?
Well, tell us how to do it differently. Yeah, what is too many people dying in World War II after Pearl Harbor? Did the American public worry about how many people were dying to destroy Tokyo and Berlin? I know this is not the same, but it's similar.
No, this is everything that's wrong with politics, people like Lindsey Graham right there. Because human life matters. Okay, President Trump always says, whenever he talks about foreign policy, I don't want people to die. President Trump said it to Netanyahu. He said, listen, we don't want civilians to die. Stop killing civilians. President Trump has been consistent about that around the planet. We don't want death. We don't want Ukrainian death. We don't want Russian death. We don't want Israeli death. We don't want Palestinian death. We want people to live. So when you have no regard for the most basic thing, human life, it shows you are a sick, maniacal puppet of dark forces. Zelensky, Dick Blumenthal and the neocons, and Lindsey Lady G. Graham. It is disgusting. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break right now. I'm going to tell you about our next sponsor of the show, and those are our friends over at the Smart Health Plan. I have a question for you. Are you fed up with health insurance premiums that are draining your wallet? Well, I want to introduce you to the Smart Health Plan. Say goodbye to big insurance and government control. Say hello to huge monthly premium savings, a nationwide PPO network with unlimited doctor visits, low copays, unlimited and free access to telemedicine, and comprehensive catastrophic coverage designed to protect you and your family from the financial consequences of a serious illness or injury. If you are facing COBRA, if you are self-employed, if you can't get coverage anywhere else and you've been denied, well, the Smart Health Plan has your back and guarantees you that you can get the safety net that you and your family need. And if you have a small business with 50 or fewer employees, the Smart Health Plan can help you with that too. If you want more information, call my friend Barry, at the Smart Health Plan at 833-752-6742, 833-752-6742, or go to the website you see on the screen right there, thesmarthealthplan.com. Guys, 7 in 10 bankruptcies in this country are caused by medical debt, Wipes you out. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be your family. Get in touch with our friends at the Smart Health Plan and give yourself the protection you need. I know you've been putting it off. Don't put it off any further. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with so much more. The show rolls on. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here, joined with producer Frankie, of course. And the number one thing on everybody's minds right now, if you're paying attention to what's going on, as they say, inside the Beltway of Washington, D.C., is the one big, beautiful bill. President Trump just put up the new whitehouse.gov/OBBB website. It says your tax cuts are loading. It's actually pretty funny. So you put that up, and everyone's wondering, what's going on with the one big, beautiful bill? Passed through the House, big thing. It's in the Senate. Certain conservative senators are saying they don't support it. There's too much pork. Trump says he's open to pork being taken out of it. The donors, lobbyists, special interests don't want certain elements of pork taken out of it. Members of Congress on the Republican side are getting flack ahead of their reelection because you're cutting Medicaid and you want people to die. No, it's cutting out things that benefit illegals and deadbeats who have enough pulse and functionality to get a job. By the way, if I was like the governor, of a state, I would say nobody's getting anything unless you go to a doctor annually and prove you cannot do anything with your hands or your mind or your body. You have to be incapacitated. If you could do any job, you can go do that job. And the government will help you get that job. How about that? If you can work, no free ride. That's what these cuts, are about. Elon Musk, though, came out pretty strongly. And he called the spending bill a disgusting abomination. And I got to say this, Elon Musk is not making a good point here because there is so much crap in the bill that should have been taken out. Now, are there going to be tax cuts for Americans, right now that stabilize things that we need? Yes. But if you have the Republican majority in the Senate and the House and you have the executive branch, do something better than this. Now, again, if I'm Trump right now, Trump wants it through. He wants it by July 4th on his desk. He said he's open to pork getting gutted out. Gut out the pork and put it on Trump's desk. But there is no excuse for a good bill not to get put on Trump's desk by July 4th with that majority. Frankie, what say you?
Yeah, the only... And I agree with Elon. There's a lot of pork, and you're making me a little hungry with this talk. But I will just say what annoys me slightly is Elon was in the Oval having this big old press conference. And, it's not like he was quiet about it prior to that. He did say plenty, on a couple news headlines. It's like, Elon says, it's a lot of spending and he doesn't necessarily agree with the bill. It's just annoying with the timing. It's like, he leaves and then, all of a sudden he's got this view where he doesn't like it. It's like, can the timing be any more, can we stop with this? I hate how this
He could have said it a month ago. He could have said it a month ago. It would have been nice if he said it a month ago, Yeah. And I think there's some internal things going on there. Elon's a little bit upset because his boy, who's going to be the head of NASA, got bounced out of it. So maybe Elon's like, all right, who did that? Okay, that's a person back in the bill. Just thinking here, that could be part of it. Now, again, I'm with Trump. I want a bill signed by July 4th. We got to get a win. But Marjorie Taylor Greene makes a good point. Again, it's going to the Senate. It's got to come back to the House and then go to the president's desk. There's still time to strip stuff out. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about something very interesting that, again, people don't get time to read the bills. But if you did, you would see what Marjorie Taylor Greene found. And it's quite bizarre. This is the deep state that still exists on both sides. Roll it.
This clause would take away state rights to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. I think federalism is something that we must always protect. And I warn against the dangers of protecting a tech industry where we have no idea the future of what this industry will hold. AI is rapidly developing. AI has developed quickly over the past few years. Imagine what it will be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. When we look to the future, we cannot take away states' rights to regulate or make laws to protect the people in their state or to regulate businesses that operate in their state.
Right. So Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, hold on a minute, why are Republicans, small government Republicans, allegedly, why did somebody sneak that in there and try to get it through? Marjorie Taylor Greene found it. She's absolutely right. States' rights. They want to federalize it to a small Washington, D.C. sect. Frankie?
Yeah, and it's annoying because when these things slip through, it makes Trump look bad. Where it's likely not his fault, but it's like when you have all these tech guys, Tim Cook,
Trump policy.
Tim Cook and Bezos, and you have all these people in your corner at the inauguration. Now people are going to say, "Oh, look, he's in bed with all of them." It's unnecessary fluff. You know what I mean?
It is interesting how you make a good point there. Like, that's on Republicans, though. Republicans, they're the ones writing the bill. So, like, why is it in there? You want to make Trump look bad? Again, there's so many deep state squids who still exist, who must be rooted out. That's why I think 2026 should be on the offensive. Okay, as much as it is about expanding our majority, it should be about being on the offensive to make these people do what they need to do. And let's put America first and make the country great again. Not try to slip crap through without us looking and seeing. Thank goodness Marjorie Taylor Greene found it. I'm going to give her credit where it's due. It's a great job. So we'll see what happens from now till July 4th. But you got to get it in by July 4th. Trump asked for it. He deserves it. He's the president. 3 branches make it happen. All right, guys, that's all the time that we have on the show today. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. And you guys know it. We'll see you back live next week.